A scream tore through the street, sharp, sudden, and chilling. People turned, startled. It wasn't just any sound. It was the sound of real pain, the kind that punches straight through the noise of a busy street and makes people stop mid-step. A 19-year-old boy lay sprawled on the hot concrete, his body curled in a protective hunch. His face was twisted in agony, eyes squeezed shut, and his breathing was fast, panicked. One arm hung uselessly by his side, bent in a way that arms weren't meant to bend. The pain must have been excruciating. But the men who did it. He stood tall. Confident. His chest heaving not from effort, but satisfaction. He was built like a wall, wide shoulders, veiny forearms, wearing a loose, sleeveless martial arts GI with a solid black belt wrapped tightly around his waist. His head was shaved, his jaw clenched, and his eyes cold. Next time, he growled loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, "You pay when I ask. You don't question me. You don't delay. Or I'll snap the other arm too." The silence that followed was terrifying. A full street. People standing. Watching. No one moved. There was a woman holding her daughter's hand, now frozen in place. Two teenagers across the street who had stopped mid-laugh. A man from the corner shop peeked from behind the glass door but didn't dare come out. And then there were the two security guards outside the supermarket entrance. Uniformed, with radios clipped to their belts, doing absolutely nothing. Everyone knew who the attacker was. Marcus "Bone Breaker" Creed. An ex-MMA fighter banned from the circuit for excessive aggression. Word on the street said he'd been in over 20 underground fights. No rules. No mercy. Now, he ran the block like a dictator. Shops paid him protection. Anyone who refused, disappeared, or limped for life. The boy on the ground had refused. And this was his punishment. The crowd stood still. Not because they didn't care. But because they were afraid. Then. Someone moved. One step. Slow. Deliberate. Calm. A man in his 50s, wearing a faded gray hoodie and worn-out jeans. No one had noticed him before. He had been standing near a bus stop, head lowered, hands in his pockets. Now, he was walking forward, straight toward the scene. He didn't run. He didn't shout. He didn't even look angry. He simply walked over to the boy, knelt beside him, and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You're going to be all right," he said quietly. "Just hold on." Then he stood up, turned toward Marcus, and met his eyes. Jason Statham. It took a moment before anyone realized who he was. His face was half in shadow, his steps quiet, and his posture relaxed, but his presence hit like a wave. Marcus scoffed. "What, you here to play hero, old man?" Jason didn't respond. He removed his hoodie with slow, controlled movements, folding it neatly and placing it next to the injured boy. Underneath, he wore a black fitted shirt that showed the lean, hardened build of someone who had seen many fights, and survived them all. A faint murmur rippled through the crowd. Marcus grinned. "You think this is a movie, huh? I'm a real fighter. Black belt. You're just an actor pretending to be tough." Jason's expression didn't change. His voice was calm. Firm. Unshaken. "You broke the kid's arm because you knew no one would stop you," he said. "But you were wrong." The shift in energy was instant. Marcus's grin faded. He cracked his knuckles again, louder this time, and stepped forward. Big mistake. He struck first, fast and wild, a blur of fists aimed at Jason's head and chest. But Jason wasn't there. He ducked. Slipped past the first punch. Blocked the second. His counter came fast, a precise elbow to Marcus's ribs, followed by a swift chop to the throat. Then a spin. A low leg sweep. Marcus crashed to the ground, breathless. Gasps erupted from the crowd. But Marcus wasn't finished. He rolled up, face red with rage, and pulled a pair of metal knuckles from his belt. "You're dead now." Jason didn't flinch. Marcus charged, shouting, throwing everything he had. Jason caught the punch midair. Twisted. A sharp pop. The metal knuckles clattered to the ground. He yanked Marcus forward, shifted his weight, and threw him down hard. The thug landed on his knees. Jason stepped in and whispered something close to his ear. Whatever he said, it worked. Marcus's body went still. His face turned pale. Jason let go and walked away. He returned to the boy, who was now breathing slower but still in pain. Jason knelt again and said, "You're safe now. Help is coming." He stood and turned to the crowd. "Someone call an ambulance." And this time, someone did. Phones went up. A woman took off her jacket and draped it over the boy. A man from the pharmacy brought out a first aid kit. The silence that once paralyzed the street had broken. Courage had returned. Jason began walking away, slipping quietly back into the crowd. A voice called out behind him. "Wait. Who are you?" Jason paused. Looked back over his shoulder. Just someone who remembers what strength is really for. And with that, he disappeared into the city, the kind of man who shows up when he's needed most, and vanishes before anyone can thank him.